Hello and welcome. Take a moment and just imagine that. What does your life look like? Are you calmer, more focused, more resilient, or does it feel like a slightly more advanced, slightly more stressful version of today? The endless scroll of news, the pressure to perform, the nagging anxieties about the future, the complex web of relationships. What if you could navigate all of it not with stress, but with a profound sense of inner peace? What if the key to a better life in 2026 wasn't a new app, a new productivity hack, or a radical change in your circumstances, but a change in your operating system, your mind's operating system? You are going to explore exactly that. We are going to dive into a philosophy that is over 2,000 years old, yet feels like it was designed for the specific chaos of the 21st century. This is not about dusty books or abstract academic debates. This is a practical, no-nonsense guide to living. This is Stoicism. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, who ruled one of the most powerful empires in history from the front lines of wars and amidst court intrigues, wrote these words to himself: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The former slave Epictetus, who taught students in a small, simple classroom, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And Seneca, the playwright and advisor to the terrifying Emperor Nero, who navigated immense wealth and immense danger, wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." These men, an emperor, a slave, a statesman, lived vastly different lives, yet they all arrived at the same core truths about human flourishing. They were Stoics. In this video, we will unpack the core principles of Stoicism and translate them into a practical framework you can use to build a better, stronger, more meaningful life, starting today and carrying you confidently into 26 and beyond. We will move from theory to practice, from ancient wisdom to modern application. This is not about suppressing emotion, it's about mastering your judgments. It's not about withdrawing from the world, it's about engaging with it virtuously. It's about building an inner citadel that no external event can shake. So, if you're ready to equip yourself for the future, let's begin. Part 1. The Stoic Foundation. What is Stoicism really? Before we can build our 206 life, we need to understand our tools. There's a common misconception about Stoicism. People think it's about being unfeeling, cold, robotic, that you grit your teeth and endure life without joy. Nothing could be further from the truth. Stoicism is a philosophy of virtue, reason, and living in accordance with nature. Its ultimate goal is eudaimonia, a Greek word that doesn't just mean happiness, but rather human flourishing, a life of fulfillment and purpose. The Stoics believed that this flourishing comes from one thing and one thing only, living a life of virtue. But what is virtue? To the Stoic, virtue is excellence of character. It is wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It's about being a good person, using your reason to navigate the world, acting with courage in the face of fear, dealing with others fairly, and exercising self-control. Now, here is the most fundamental, game-changing concept in all of Stoicism. The one idea that, if you truly internalize it, will change everything. It's the dichotomy of control. Epictetus opens his famous handbook, the Enchiridion, with this: "Some things are within our power, while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power are our body, our property, our reputation, our office, and, in a word, whatever is not of our own doing." Let's break that down because it is the cornerstone. What is in your control? Your judgments and opinions about events, your values, your desires and aversions, your intentions and your efforts, your character and your actions. What is not in your control? Your body, to a large extent, illness, aging, your possessions, your reputation and what others think of you, the past and the future. What betation? What is not as think of you? Other people's thoughts, feelings and actions. The weather, the economy, traffic, flight delays. The entire source of human anxiety, frustration, and unhappiness, the Stoics argue, comes from one simple error: We try to control what is not in our control, and we neglect what is. Think about it. You get angry in traffic. Why? You are trying to control the behavior of thousands of other drivers, the timing of the traffic lights, the construction schedule. You have zero control over any of that. The only thing you control is your own reaction. You can fume, pound the steering wheel, and arrive at your destination stressed and miserable. Or you can accept the reality of the traffic, put on a podcast, and use the time to learn something or simply be with your thoughts. The traffic is the same. The outcome for your inner world is entirely different. You feel anxiety about a job interview. Why? You are trying to control the outcome, whether you get the job. You cannot control the other candidates, the hiring manager's mood, the company's secret internal budget. What can you control? You can control your preparation. You can research the company, practice your answers, get a good night's sleep, show up on time, and present the best version of yourself. You can control your effort, not the outcome. When you tie your happiness and self-worth to things outside your control, like getting a specific job, or a specific person liking you, or your stocks going up, you make yourself a hostage to fortune. You are handing the remote control to your inner peace over to the external world, which is chaotic, unpredictable, and indifferent to you. The Stoic goal is to shift your focus entirely to the inner citadel, the realm of your own will, your prohairesis, as Epictetus called it. Your job is to manage your judgments and actions virtuously. The results. You take them as they come. This is not passivity. This is the ultimate form of empowerment. It means you are never truly a victim of circumstance because your core self, your character, remains yours to command. The external world can take your possessions, your status, even your health, but it cannot force you to adopt a bad character. That power remains yours alone. As we move forward, every principle we discuss will be built upon this foundation. The dichotomy of control is the lens through which a Stoic views the world. Keep it in mind. When you feel stress, anger, or anxiety rising in 2026, ask yourself the Stoic question, is this within my control? If it is, act. If it isn't, accept. This single practice alone can transform your experience of life. Part 2, the core disciplines, perception, action, and will. Stoicism can be broken down into 3 interconnected disciplines. These are the mental muscles you need to train every day. The philosopher Pierre Hadot beautifully framed them as the discipline of perception, the discipline of action, and the discipline of will. 1. The discipline of perception, seeing things as they are. Perception is not about what happens to you, but the story you tell yourself about what happens. The Stoics remind us that we don't react to events. We react to our judgments about those events. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This sounds almost absurdly simple, but it's incredibly profound. An event is neutral until you assign a value judgment to it. Let's take a modern example. Your boss sends you a terse email. "See me in my office at 3 p.m. What is your immediate internal narrative? For many, the mind spirals. Oh no, what did I do wrong? Is he angry? Am I getting fired? That project I turned in yesterday must have been terrible. This narrative creates anxiety, dread, and physical stress. You have, in Seneca's words, suffered greatly in your imagination. But what are the facts? The fact is, your boss wants to see you at 3 p.m. Everything else is a story you are adding. The reality is neutral. Your perception of it as a threat is what causes the suffering. The discipline of perception is about stripping away the value judgments, the catastrophizing, the emotional charge. It's about applying what the Stoics called hyperlepsis, withholding your assent from initial automatic impressions. When you receive that email, the Stoic practice is to pause and say, "My initial impression is that this is bad news, but is that true? I don't know." It could be to give me a new assignment, to ask for my opinion, to give me a compliment, or yes, to offer criticism. Until 3 p.m., I do not know. Therefore, I will not assign a negative value to this unknown. I will simply prepare for the meeting and meet it with a clear mind. This is the essence of cognitive behavioral therapy, which was directly inspired by Stoicism. You are challenging and reframing your automatic negative thoughts. Another powerful tool within this discipline is the view from above. Marcus Aurelius practiced this frequently. When you are caught up in a petty argument, stressed about a deadline, or feeling self-important, he would remind himself to zoom out. Look at your life from the perspective of a mountain, then the planet, then the solar system. See your tiny place in the vastness of space and time. That meeting you're so stressed about. In the grand scheme of the cosmos, it is a tiny, fleeting event. This isn't meant to make you feel insignificant, but to provide perspective. It shrinks your problems down to their proper size. The things that feel like life and death emergencies are usually just minor annoyances when viewed from a sufficient height. Training your perception is the first and most critical step. It stops you from creating your own unnecessary suffering before you even begin to act. 2. The discipline of action, acting with virtue in the world. Stoicism is not a philosophy of retreat. It's for people in the thick of life. The discipline of action is about how we engage with the world, with other people, and with our duties. The guiding principle here is to act virtuously. In any situation, ask yourself, what does the virtuous thing look like here? Not what is easiest, not what is most profitable, not what will make me most popular, but what is right. This breaks down into the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, practical wisdom, knowing what is good, bad, and indifferent, using good judgment, knowing the right thing to do in a complex situation, courage, not just physical bravery, but moral courage, the courage to stand up for what is right, to speak the truth, to admit when you're wrong, to face difficulty with resilience. Justice, this is the most important social virtue. It means treating others fairly, with kindness, and recognizing that they, like you, are rational beings deserving of respect. It's about your duty to your family, your community, and humanity itself. Temperance, self-discipline, moderation, self-control. It's about exercising restraint over your desires and impulses. It's doing nothing in excess. Let's apply this to a 2026 scenario. Imagine you're a manager and you have to lay off a member of your team due to company-wide cuts. The easy, cowardly thing might be to send a cold corporate email. The vicious thing might be to blame upper management and avoid responsibility. The virtuous action involves courage, having the difficult conversation directly and humanely, justice, treating the person with respect, being fair with the severance, helping them transition, temperance, managing your own discomfort and guilt, not letting it lead to avoidance or anger, and wisdom, understanding the situation fully and choosing the best possible course of action within a bad set of circumstances. The Stoic focuses entirely on the action itself. Was it done with the right intention and virtue? Not on the outcome, which is outside their full control. You can act with perfect virtue and the other person might still be rightfully upset. That is their reaction, which is not in your control. Your job was to do the right thing to the best of your ability. This discipline also reminds us of our role as social creatures. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, "I was made for community. Like a limb is made for the body. How can the limb function without the body, or the body without the limb?" Your actions are not just for you, they are part of the interconnected web of humanity. Act accordingly. The discipline of will, accepting the nature of reality. If the discipline of perception is about how we see the world, and the discipline of action is about how we change it, the discipline of will is about how we accept the world as it is. This is the final piece of the Stoic Trinity. It is the serene acceptance of what is not in our control. The Stoics had a beautiful term for this, Amor, Fati, a love of fate. This phrase comes from Nietzsche, but the concept is pure Stoicism. It's the attitude of not just tolerating what happens, but embracing it, seeing every event, every obstacle, as an opportunity to practice virtue. Epictetus, who was crippled as a slave, said, "Lameness is an impediment to the body, but not to the will." He transformed his physical limitation from a tragedy into a training ground for his philosophy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the famous obstacle is the way principle. A project at work fails. The Stoic response isn't despair. It's good. This is a chance to practice resilience, a chance to learn wisdom, a chance to gather my team and practice courage and justice in the face of setback. You get sick. Instead of complaining, "Why me?" the Stoic thinks this is a chance to practice patience, a chance to appreciate my health when it returns, a chance to let my body rest. This is not toxic positivity. It's not saying, I'm happy, I'm sick. It's saying, given that I am sick, how can I use this situation to practice being a good person? How can I turn this setback into fuel for my growth? The discipline of will is about aligning your will with the cosmic will, with the logos, the rational order of the universe. It is saying, okay, universe, this is what you have handed me. I may not have chosen it, but I accept it fully. And I will find the good in it. I will use it. I will make it part of my story. When you master this discipline, you become anti-fragile. You don't just withstand shocks, you grow stronger from them. The challenges of 2006 won't break you, they will forge you. Part 3, Practical Tools for 2006, From Philosophy to Daily Practice. Theory is essential, but without practice, it's just intellectual entertainment. So how do we actually live this? How do we train these disciplines so they become automatic by 2006? The Stoics were prolific writers, but they were also men of practice. They left us a toolkit. 1. The morning preparation, the day's invocation. Each morning before the world crashes in, take 5-10 minutes for a Stoic ritual. This sets the tone for your entire day. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations was essentially his private morning journal. He wasn't writing for publication, he was preparing himself for the day ahead. Your morning preparation should involve 3 steps. First, contemplate the dichotomy of control. Remind yourself, today I will encounter busybodies, ungrateful people, arrogant men, cheats, and the interfering. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil. But I have seen the nature of the good, and I will not be harmed by them, for none of them can touch my core character. This is a paraphrase of Marcus. You are mentally preparing for the chaos of the world and affirming that your peace is yours to keep. Second, premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This sounds pessimistic, but it's one of the most powerful psychological tools ever devised. Briefly and calmly envision what could go wrong today. The traffic jam, the difficult conversation, the project setback, the rude comment. By visualizing these challenges in advance, you rob them of their power to surprise and destabilize you. You are vaccinating yourself against misfortune. When it happens, you can say, ah, yes, I expected this. Now, how do I handle it with virtue? Third, set your intentions. Decide in advance how you will act. Today, I will practice justice with my colleagues. I will practice temperance with my diet. I will practice courage by speaking up in the meeting. I will accept with grace the things I cannot change. This morning ritual is like a mental dojo. You are warming up for the main event, the day itself. 2. The evening review, the day's audit. Just as you prepare in the morning, you review in the evening. This was a practice Seneca explicitly endorsed. Before you go to sleep, ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? Acknowledge where you acted with virtue. Did you show patience? Did you act fairly? Celebrate the small wins. This reinforces good behavior. Where did I fail? Be brutally honest, but without self-flagellation. Did I lose my temper? Did I act out of cowardice? Did I indulge a harmful desire? The goal is not to feel guilty, but to learn. Ah, I see. When my colleague said X, tomorrow I will take 1 deep breath before responding to criticism. This practice of daily self-reflection builds self-awareness and creates a powerful feedback loop for personal growth. You are no longer sleepwalking through life, you are actively engineering your character. The Stoic Pause, your moment of choice. This is the micro-practice you use throughout the day. It's the application of the discipline of perception in real time. When something triggering happens, an insult, bad news, a frustration, your job is to create a space between the event and your reaction. In that space lies your freedom. In that pause, ask yourself, is this within my control? What is the judgment I am adding to this event? Is it true? What would a wise and virtuous person do right now? This pause might only last a second or 2, but it's enough to break the chain of automatic emotional reactivity. It allows you to respond from a place of principle, not impulse. 4. Practice poverty and voluntary discomfort. This sounds extreme, but it's incredibly liberating. The Stoics, even the wealthy ones like Seneca, would periodically practice simplicity. They would sleep on the floor, eat plain food, wear simple clothes, and go without comforts. Why? To prove to themselves that they could. to build resilience, to appreciate what they have, to remember that happiness does not come from external comforts. In 2026, this could look like taking a digital Sabbath for 24 hours without your phone or computer. Eating simple, modest meals for a week, walking instead of driving, taking a cold shower, decluttering your home and giving away possessions you don't need. By voluntarily choosing discomfort, you inoculate yourself against the fear of it. You realize that you are more resilient than you thought. You break your attachment to stuff and reaffirm that your peace comes from within. 5. Memento Mori. Remember, you must die. This is perhaps the most famous and most misunderstood Stoic practice. Remember, you will die. It's not meant to be morbid or depressing. It's meant to be a profound source of motivation and perspective. Keeping your own mortality in mind does two things. It prioritizes your time. Understanding that your time is limited and precious forces you to ask, is this how I want to spend my one wild and precious life? It pulls you out of trivial arguments, petty grievances, and mindless scrolling. It urges you to focus on what truly matters: your character, your relationships, your contributions. It fosters gratitude. The next time you hug a loved one, the thought Memento Mori in the back of your mind can transform that routine hug into a profound, meaningful moment. This could be the last time, not in a fearful way, but in a way that makes you present and deeply appreciative. As Seneca wrote, "He who has learned to die has unlearned how to be a slave." The person who has made peace with their own mortality is free to live with courage and purpose, unafraid of the opinions of others or the loss of status. Part 4, Building Your 26th Stoic Life, a future of resilience and purpose. So, let's bring it all together. Let's project forward to 2006 and paint a picture of what a life informed by these principles looks like. It's not a life of perfection, but a life of progress. The Stoic professional in 2006, you are in your career. You face competition, restructuring, AI disruption, and constant pressure. The Stoic professional is unshakable. Why? You focus on your sphere of control, the quality of your work, your effort, your integrity, your willingness to learn. You don't waste energy fretting about layoffs you can't control or rivals you can't change. You see setbacks as fuel for growth. A failed project is a lab for learning resilience. A difficult boss is a trainer for your patience and courage. You act with justice and temperance. You don't engage in office politics or cut corners. You are a reliable, fair, and disciplined team member. Your reputation is built on substance, not spin. You practice Memento Mori at work. This meeting, this presentation, this report, it's part of your finite life. You give it your full, focused attention because you choose to spend your life energy here. The result is not just success, but fulfilling success. You are defined not by your title or salary, but by the virtue you bring to your work. The Stoic partner, parent, friend in 2026. Your relationships are your most important project. The Stoic approach transforms them. You apply the dichotomy of control relentlessly. You cannot control your partner's mood, your child's choices, or your friend's opinions. You can only control how you show up. With love, with understanding, with fairness, with patience. You practice the discipline of perception. When a loved one says something hurtful, you pause. You don't assume the worst. You seek to understand their perspective. You strip away your own ego from the interaction. You remember your social duty. As Marcus Aurelius did, you see yourself as a limb of the human body. Your role is to support, to contribute, to love. Your primary function in your family and community is to be a source of reason and virtue. You use Memento Mori to cherish the mundane. The school run, the shared meal, the quiet evening. These are not inconveniences. They are the stuff of life itself, fleeting and precious. The result is deeper, more resilient, and more forgiving relationships. You become a source of stability and peace for those around you. The Stoic individual in a chaotic world, 2026. The news cycle is relentless. Social media is a storm of outrage. Global problems feel overwhelming. The Stoic is informed but not inflamed. You stay engaged because it is your duty as a citizen of the world, cosmopolitanism, but you do so from a place of calm effectiveness. You focus on your sphere of action. You cannot single-handedly solve world hunger, but you can donate to a food bank. You cannot fix political polarization, but you can have a respectful conversation with someone who disagrees with you. You cannot stop all injustice, but you can act with justice in your own corner of the world. You guard your mind as a citadel. You are selective about the media you consume. You understand that much of the news is designed to provoke fear and anger, emotions that are outside your control. You consume information to understand, not to be outraged. You practice Amor, Fati, with world events. You accept the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. This acceptance is not resignation. It is the starting point for clear-headed, effective action. You work with reality, not against it. The result is a sense of agency in an insane world. You are not a passive victim of global events. You are an active, virtuous participant, doing what you can, where you are, with what you have. It is not a magic pill, but a manual for the human soul. It is a call to build the life you want from the inside out. The path to 2006 is paved with the choices you make today. Will you choose to see obstacles as impediments or opportunities? Will you choose to tie your happiness to external validation or to your own virtuous character? Will you choose to react impulsively or respond with wisdom? The Stoics are not asking you to be perfect. They are asking you to try, to practice, to fail, review and try again. The goal is progress, not perfection. So, here is your invitation. Your journey doesn't require you to read all the ancient texts today, though I highly encourage you to start with Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. It simply requires you to start with one practice. Maybe it's the morning preparation tomorrow. Maybe it's the Stoic Pause the next time you feel anger rising. Maybe it's just carrying the question, is this within my control? In your pocket for a week. Start small. Be consistent. This is a marathon, not a sprint. It is the slow, steady work of sculpting your character. The world of 2006 will come, with all its wonders and all its challenges. You can face it as you always have, buffeted by every wind of fortune, or you can face it as a Stoic, grounded, resilient, virtuous, and free. The choice, as it has always been, is yours. Thank you for listening, and I wish you not just a good life, but a flourishing one. If this conversation resonated with you and you'd like to continue it, I'd be honored if you subscribe to the channel. We have a lot to explore together. In the comments below, I'd love to hear from you. Which Stoic principle are you going to try first? What's one area of your life where you think the dichotomy of control could make a difference? Let's build a community of practice, supporting each other as we move toward a better 2066. Thank you again for your time and attention. Go well.